Hi friends, today we are going to be working on our spooky backgrounds for our Victorian houses. So today you will need a white piece of paper, a pencil if you would like. I'm going to draw it in a pencil just so you can see it better on my paper, but you don't need a pencil. A white and yellow crayon, a black and yellow marker, and then you're going to pick one of these accent colors, either blue, green, or purple. It's up to you. Again, if you don't have markers, you could do this with colored pencils, crayons, whatever you would like. Now I'm going to do an extra step where I'm going to add water with a paintbrush to make my marker into paint. Again, if you don't have this option, just use crayons, colored pencils, or just use the markers without adding the water. So the first thing we're going to start with is drawing our crescent moon. And you can pick either the left or right hand corner. I'm going to make mine in the left corner. I'm going to start with a C shape, and then I'm going to come back around and connect it. Okay? I'm going to take my white crayon and I'm going to color it in. You do not have to draw the crescent moon shape with your pencil. If you don't want to, you can draw it straight with your white crayon. I just thought it would be easier for you to see since I am coloring it white. So I'm coloring the inside of my moon white, and I'm going to take my yellow crayon and I'm just going to put some yellow dots here and there for my stars. You can do an actual star shape, or you can do dots like me. It's up to you, and however many you'd like. Okay, then I'm going to take my yellow marker and I'm going to trace around my moon with that yellow marker. And I'm also going to make kind of a circle shape, and I'm going to color that in. Not very carefully, because when I add the water it's going to spread it out. So it's okay if you see some white space. Okay? I'm not going to add the water just yet, so it's going to look a little scribbly until I add that water. If you're not adding water, you want to fill this in nice and neatly. Now I'm going to start with my accent color. I think for my accent color, I'm going to use blue. Okay? So I'm going to take my blue, and I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to trace that kind of curved shape. Okay? Then I'm going to use my black. I'm going to do the same thing. As I go, maybe the spaces are going to get bigger, maybe they're going to stay the same. And I'm going to use my blue again. And it's okay if you have some white space showing. Now, where I have the blue, if you want to use purple or green, you absolutely can. For my other example, I used purple. I'm just trying the blue and seeing how that works out. Okay. And you can see as I'm coloring over top of my stars, you can still see them. And when we add the water, you'll be able to see them even better. Again, I'm not worrying about that white space. If you are not going to add the water, you do want to worry about that white space and make sure that you color it in nice and neatly. Again, you can use crayons, colored pencils, and markers. Just like we did with the fruit portraits, if you want to fade from one color to the next, making sure that they overlap those colors, you can. I just thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different with markers and water, since some of us don't have paint at home. Now, if you do have paint, you can definitely do this with paint instead. But for those that don't have paint, you can just use your markers and water. I've noticed that some types of paper don't let the markers blend as well. If that happens to you, that's okay. One more spot, all the way to the corner here. Black. All right. If you are doing this at home, you might want to have a little placemat, a paper towel, or something underneath so that if the marker gets off your paper, it's not going on the table or wherever you're working. So I'm going to start with the yellow. I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to smooth it around And you're going to notice as I add the water, it spreads that yellow to make it look more like paint. It's not going to fill in all of our white spaces, but it'll fill in some of it. Alright, now I'm going to start with the blue. Now when I do the blue, I'm trying to be careful that I don't mix it with my yellow too much. It's okay, it's making a little green here. Now I'm going to clean out my paintbrush. Now I'm going to do the black. See that white space filling in, and it's okay if it goes on top of the blue. Kind of want to fade it from one to the next. You just don't want all your colors to turn black, so if that's happening, you want to make sure that you clean out your paintbrush in between colors. Now I still see a little bit of texture. It's not smoothing it out completely, and that is okay with me. I'm okay with seeing a little texture, but you'll notice that those stars start to show up so much better. Please don't use too much water, because depending on how thick your paper is, it can make it really soggy. So kind of judge how much water you can use without making it rip or getting too soggy. This is why it's nice to have a paper towel underneath your paper too, that while it sits and dries, something underneath it so it's not getting color all over the place. I'm going to keep working my way around the paper. Love how my stars showed up so nice. Friends who are using crayons or colored pencils, instead of this process, you're probably going to get a nice smoother blend, much more smooth blend than we are. And it's okay too. Alright. Make sure that I get all the way to the edges. Again, this is why you want to have a placemat or a paper towel. Now that I am done, I'm going to make sure that I go clean out my paintbrush, dump out my water, and I'm going to put all my markers away, and I'm going to leave this in a safe spot to dry. I'm probably not going to move it right now while it's wet, because when it's wet, there's more chance of it ripping, so you might want to keep it exactly where it is while it's drying. Nice job, friends!